trying to attempt that conversation on DNA. And earlier this morning, I was saying that it is a man's conversation, except the feeling will now be the woman's response and conversation as well. So tell me, would you ever ask your partner, or would you ever want to know the real DNA? Do you want to know, would you ask for a DNA on your child? What would really necessitate it? Let's have that conversation this morning. We're joined by Solomon Sadinam Agbemenya. That's like affecto, like back home straight flight. So fintech enthusiast, I would ask him what that is at some point in the conversation. Then I've got the gorgeous Pascaline A. Alan, owner of Pretty Affordables GH. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining. Which part of Water did you come from? Because this is your name, dear.
I come from Strong Bay.
Strong Bay.
Strong Bay, yes. It's on the straight towards Keta.
All right. Very, very away. I would have thought she is, because she looks very away.
Yes, I am. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Let's say my own DNA is
What's your surname?
I am Pascaline Agbocha originally, so that's the A over there.
I work with Federation this morning.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I mean, sometimes the conversation before coming on air is even more nicer, because then they let the real cell phone go. But we've been asking, would you ever? Let's go to the men, because I say it's a man's conversation. Let's go to the men. Would you ever?
It's very complicated. I think the situation I find myself in, because I don't have kids yet, I don't know what it feels like. So I don't know that I will or not.
Okay.
I feel like I should be in a situation that would determine. But if I feel strongly that I'm being lied to, I'm being deceived, I don't know. It's really hard for me, honestly.
Okay.
It's always said that question would always arise as a result of mistrust or miscommunication, or also if I should have any doubt. In the first instance, I have no reason to want to ask for a DNA if I think everything is fine, if I have a very exciting marriage with my spouse or my partner and everything looks so good. But that moment I see signs and I feel something has been hidden away from me, that would cause me to want to ask for a DNA. The second instance would be when there has been a certain previous history of infidelity on her side. Then once that establishment has been made that in the first case she's now there with somebody else before, I start to be very particular about what the kids are doing. So once I see that what these kids are doing are generally so different in terms of look and appearance from what I do, I'll be forced to want to do a DNA.
Really?
But most importantly, I would be considering the long term.
Okay.
How would the kids be impacted? What is her general approach to my request to do a DNA? If she possibly is guilty and decides to want to come out and say, you know what, these kids are probably not yours, probably no need to.
Okay.
And again, based on how defensive she would be, would also play a very critical role in whether or not to want to proceed or not.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear her. Pascaline, how would you feel?
Okay, so fair enough. I would say that this is a fair submission on his part. But away from that, away from the mistrust and everything, this is one of the main reasons why women don't want to shy away from DNA. Because once DNA is mentioned, they feel maybe because there is mistrust, maybe because the man feels I have cheated or everything that he has mentioned. But away from that, when we look at our systems, for example, let's take it from the hospital. This is from a practical point of view, from our hospitals. So many things happen there. So DNA, somebody, you not having your child as your own child, sometimes is far from just being a cheat or anything of those things. Not so long ago, my sister gave birth. I was at the hospital. Now she had a CS. So transporting them after she had recovered and everything from the recovery ward to the ward where they were going, the nurse had 2 babies in her arms. I was following as my sister because she wasn't well. They had to wheel her and everything. Then we got to a point, the nurse asked that, oh, she had left the antenatal book, so I should go back to the recovery ward and bring it. So when I got to where they were, she asked me, which of these babies are yours? And I pointed the wrong baby. But that wasn't my sister's baby. But I pointed, this is our baby, when in fact it wasn't my sister's baby. So let's take, for instance, if I were responsible for that baby at that moment, I could have chosen the wrong baby for my sister. So sometimes it goes beyond just mistrust and all those things. There are some other variables that come into play when we are talking about DNA. But me personally, I would say that DNA should be an open conversation for both the man and the woman. It shouldn't be based on, I have seen certain traits and I have seen that, or I'm not seeing this in my child, or I am not trusting you that much now, so I want to have a DNA. If we take it from that angle, then it becomes so difficult. It puts a kind of thought in the minds of the women, and then we try to draw from it. I know that my baby is my husband's baby. Let me say, for all I know, is my husband's baby. So should my husband ask for a DNA, I should be open for it. It shouldn't feel like he's pushing to do it because of A or B. But if we both come and then we understand the fact that aside cheating and all those things, other things also play a part, then I think we'll be open for it. So I would push for the DNA agenda. I'm seriously for it.
Because you know that it's his baby.
Oh yes, I would. Okay? And I would encourage every woman to also be open to it.
Okay, two things. So I think that it comes back to what Solomon then said.
Yeah.
Because for a matter to even give rise to a conversation, then it means that it is on a higher side. For the other exceptions where you go to the hospital and there's exchange, it's in both of your interest.
Yeah.
It is in both of you's interest. So then there'll be no questions or qualms about how I feel when you're going for the DNA and all of that. If the child is beginning to exhibit very strange traits that you, the mother, cannot even trace back to your family line, the father can't also begin to trace to their family line. If, for instance, the father even traveled, and then you know how the embassies would request for DNAs, and it's now it is out of your power. It's out of the man's power.
Exactly.
It's government that is asking for it, and you go and do the DNA, and it turns out that it's not. It is open. Those are for the exceptions. It happened in the hospital, out of your absolute control. But we'll come back to what Solomon has said. That listen, if you're giving me a reason, trust and all of that, if you mention this and the woman says that, okay, go and do the DNA test, and it turns out that they are your children, will things be the same? Do we mend trust with discovering the truth? So
just to be clear, that's if the test has been done and you find out it's not.
Yes. It turns out that the kids are really yours.
Yes.
They're just exhibiting traits of your great.
Yes, I mean, so again, one of the reasons why you'd want to do the DNA is for comfort. So once it's been confirmed, once everything that you have done, confirmed that these are your kids, again, it takes away every doubt and resets the button and makes things move on as expected. Because the point is, for the woman, she also gains a certain extra level of trust, which means that yes, I mean, no, because at the end of the day, one of the reasons why we would have requested was to be sure that these are really our kids. And the woman would often prove and claim, yes, these are your children. I haven't done anything that you think that I ought not to have done. And so for this DNA to have come out to show that these are really my kids, it shows she's actually gained an extra level of trust. So if there's any doubt whatsoever, I have no cause to actually even request such an element anywhere again. So she's proving her credibility.
I see what you mean.
Is that the case for it? Will that be the case?
Yes, as humans as we are, should you come and ask me for DNA, we go and then the children are yours. There is this element in me that would to him you have gained trust
and comfort. Yeah.
But to me, I would still be wondering why my husband did this to me. You know, it would make me feel a certain way. Maybe not necessarily everybody, okay, but it would make me feel this man doesn't trust me enough. This man So all these years that I've been with you, this is what you are thinking about me. And you know, it could even push somebody to go and do what you are thinking she's doing. Because humans, we respond to things differently. To you, you have gained her trust. Okay, but to her, you are rather pushing her away to go and even do or look elsewhere. So it's both ways, yeah.
Since we're talking about trust, I foresee a woman definitely asking questions before this proceeds.
Oh,
so
yes.
when a man says that, can we take a DNA test? I don't think the woman will just say, okay, let's go and do it. Yeah. Definitely. Why do you want us
exactly.
to? So when the man states his reason, he doesn't say that, okay, because I don't trust you, or the kids do not display whatever. I don't know. I feel like maybe there was a mistake at the hospital and everything. If that is his reason for you, and you go take the DNA test, and it happens that, oh, they are his kids, will the trust still be there?
Yes.
Because of the reason he gave you?
Yes. So it boils down to communication. Okay. You don't go to your wife and tell her that because I saw you sneak out of the house the other day, I want to go and do DNA. You know, that's
of course
extreme. So you have to find a way of doing it. Like you rightly said, for travel reasons. There are other reasons why we do DNA, for medical reasons and all that. So even if you are doubting your wife, okay, communicate it in a way that she wouldn't see that there is the need has arisen for us to do a DNA because you are doubting me.
For example,
for example, oh, okay, so there is this opportunity somehow for us to travel.
But I see what you mean. But in essence, you actually want to
know
so
if truly they are your children. Exactly.
Because he wants to secure your feelings as a woman.
Exactly.
He must not say that, but come up with a reason that works for good. So that when you find out that it's really not because the hospital there was a swap, and you find out that it is solely the act of this woman, that's why the kids are not yours. Does it change it?
Then you take your next step. Okay, we are in this country. We've seen people.
Are you not being deceptive to your wife? Because she can also come and say that you lied to me.
Oh no, you lied to me, but it's so hard to put to somebody that I do not trust you, especially when you are not ready to end the marriage. Let's say if we were ending the marriage, then now you can tell me, you can state that because of so and so. But we should also consider the feelings of the women. Okay,
but we don't consider the feelings of men.
Oh, we do consider that, but they are asking, so they should have a nice way of going about it, because there is no way you would put to me that you doubt me, so and so let's go and do a DNA. Like you are saying, the aftermath. If we go and they are really your children, what becomes of me?
Well,
okay. So let me give you some scenarios here. So, for example, if I have a partner who I think that communicating or starting the conversation of a DNA becomes quite difficult, I would have a DNA without her consent. I'll do it privately. I probably need to just pick one or two things, her brush, any other thing that has got elements that could help me test
for them.
Yes, again. And so at the end of the day, if I do not want to make this a conversation that's going to leave a dent on each other's thoughts, each other's feelings, and all other related expectations, I would probably do it privately. And once I find out that everything is fine and those are my kids,
you keep quiet on it.
Stays with me and goes to live with me. I never bring it up. Nobody knows about it. It's not a conversation for us to have.
Okay.
Would it be
in as much as you can do that, it's unethical. I mean, you are taking. They are
but they say the woman is not showing emotional intelligence, so they can't have that conversation.
So if the woman is not showing emotional intelligence, it's because of the way you are communicating the whole thing to her.
So I think the concept of the whole DNA, there's no matter of how or where and who.
Yes.
It just goes down to your very core that it attacks your very trust, the fundamental of the marriage or relationship. So even if he calls Angel Gabriel and they present it to you in a dream, or even if they said it to you over a birthday cake, like if they said it to you, it's still the feeling
comes back.
It's still the same. The core of it is still the same.
You know how they say that some things that you can just not tell somebody. For example, if you have a body odor, I generally cannot walk to you. Probably I should just get you a set of perfumes or something. I mean, just to communicate silently.
At the end of the
day, at the end of the day, if I think this will break the fundamentals for which you and I live as husband and wife, trust me, I would go the other approach. If I have every shade of doubt, I might be very wrong on every doubt. I might be probably too of ambitious about getting to know the state of the what you call the black group of kids.
Right.
I would want to find out. If it's not the case, it does to me. But if I should find out and it is the case, then that's why I give you an opportunity, right? I'm not going to have the conversation of having had DNA with you. I would ask questions. Are these my kids? To give you that open door to confess every wrong.
I know someone who would not want you to ask questions. If you've gone to do the DNA and you found the result, come straight. Don't now come and ask me, are these my kids? What do you want to hear from me?
You see,
Like you're testing
this is very delicate. As we are saying, it is very, it can break marriages, it can break relationships, it can do so many, it can so much harm. Okay, so me, I'm still bent on, for me as an individual, I'm so open for DNA. I would even wish that even before children are even taken out of the hospital, if there is a means, let's have DNA testing for them, like both maternity, paternity, to be sure that, so that not after so many decades, then I'm now finding out that Kweku is not my son, Amma is not my daughter. Although I am open to it, I'm saying that the communication shouldn't of having to go and test for DNA shouldn't break the marriage. Yeah.
How would you want your husband to request a DNA if it was not the mistake of the hospital? If the DNA, if this conversation comes up as a result of a third party, we all know that the conversation is different because we're not attacking your trust, we're not attacking your commitment, we're not attacking your truth, your honesty. So how would you like your husband to communicate a request of a DNA to you?
Okay, so if my husband comes out to me and tells me that the way Amma is behaving, I think is weird, don't you think so? Then maybe he starts as a joke, maybe, oh, I also think so because I don't know why she behaves like that, so and so. Okay, so we get all these issues of people doing this, switching babies and all those things at the hospital, people doing that. Don't you think we should do a DNA? At least let's just be sure that Amma is her daughter. Then he is not putting it to me that Amma is not his daughter.
Okay.
You get my point.
Okay,
so he should make it look like
it is both of you that's looking out for.
Exactly.
What if in essence he actually has something on you? For example,
so
there is a story of a man who fathered a child. I mean, we've heard these stories, a lot of them.
So many.
So who fathered a child here in Ghana till about 17, and he was abroad, and he'll be sending money, doing what a father is supposed to do, until we got to the point where the embassy requested, and we found out that the child was not his, but it was for his brother.
For his brother?
Yes. So they find traces of DNA from his line.
Yeah.
His line, but not him. Okay. So he has been fathering for the fairity of it. You think that this man takes a flight, comes to Ghana, and says that, Pascaline, you know what, I think the way, knowing this, he knows so. The embassy gives him the result. He knows this. You don't know this. And he has a meeting with you and says that, okay, you know, for some reason, the way Francis Okwesi is behaving, don't you think we should go for a DNA test? He knows already. Yeah. He has something on you already. Yeah. Do you not think that is too much emotional trauma? Are we not both subjecting ourselves to some trauma?
Oh, no, we are not subjecting ourselves to any trauma, but we just want to be on the same page. We just want that.
But clearly we're not, because I have something on you.
Good. You have something on me.
Doesn't know.
So I'm giving you the opportunity so that we all be on the same page.
Okay.
Maybe he can't clearly come and tell you that MFR, so and so is not my child straight away. He wants to find a way, or he wants to give you the opportunity so that you know what he knows. You understand? Okay. So that you know what he knows. Since it was done without her consent, and you are privy to the information, I am not. I am giving you the opportunity so that at least we are all on the same page. Then we know the way forward.
For example,
exactly.
In embassies, Solomon, take a bite. But in embassies like this, when it's not a secret thing.
Yes.
You know this. So why don't you now speak to your husband before he gets the results? If you know you've done something.
You see, good. If you know you have done something, there are women who have done things, but they can't really tell that it is for A or it is for B. Probably she doesn't even know that the baby is for the brother. There are some women who have other men's babies, let's say given to you. She didn't do it on purpose,
okay,
because she doesn't know.
It's not
So
becoming a
for
women's conversation,
So she doesn't know. For all you know, she thought, oh, it's for my husband. The baby is for my husband. Maybe she's not privy to that information. The fact that my baby is not my husband's baby doesn't mean that I know for sure that it's not my husband's baby.
What about
so the DNA?
I want someone to come in, but before, just so I don't lose my line of thought.
Okay.
Before, pregnancy is not an accident.
Yes, it's not.
And then having some intimacy with somebody is also not an accident.
Exactly.
So we are talking about, would you have a conversation with your husband about the possible things that you may have done that you think that your husband should know prior to? Because if I have a sudden intimacy with another person, which can result, because if I had morning TV, but if I have sex with somebody and it is with a condom, I do not expect pregnancy. So I don't think I want to have that conversation with my husband or my husband to be. But if I have sex with somebody and I know the chances of getting pregnant is high, and yet I do not know that I got pregnant before I went to lay with my husband again, then we know that there's no clarity.
Yeah.
But before that embassy would even ask for this, would you like to prepare his mind?
Yes, you see.
Breathe on it. Solomon, take a bite. Breathe on it.
So again, around this entire conversation, I've always said that it's only a woman who knows the true father of.
Sometimes we don't know.
I disagree.
No, wait. I mean,
disagree.
except in the situation where there might have been a very genuine mistake at the hospital, and which I also want to support the argument that she made about that. I mean, at every childbirth, there should actually be a general DNA test for every couple, just to confirm that these are your kids, because again, mistakes could happen. You could actually do a swap. But beyond that, taken away from the hospital, it's only a woman who would know the true father of a kid.
I still disagree.
Again, because like you said, I mean, they are responsible for everything that they do before and after, and all the other crumbs that comes in the process. So the point is, if you know for a fact that this particular boy is not the son of Francis or Solomon, once that opportunity presents itself, once the first question comes up, it's like a bell, ding, you should, on your own intuition, come on, confess, and let's move on.
It's not easy like
we've said.
It's not easy like that.
Save everybody the emotional stress. So the point is, I think everyone needs to know that when the man generally starts the conversation of, can we have a DNA test? He has his foot on something.
It's a man thing, yeah?
When the man starts the conversation, okay?
I don't think he has his foot on something.
No. It could not be on evidence. It could be on suspicion. It could be on that. It could be on different.
It could also
indicators.
just be on hearsay communication. You know, men are very curious. They could be here. Please, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. They could be here, maybe over a bottle of beer, having a discussion. Then somebody brings that subject.
Their friend said they did a DNA.
Exactly. And so out of curiosity, he just wants to go home and also go and tell the wife that I also want to go and do DNA, not because
when his child is a photocopy of him.
I'm telling you, I mean,
my son is.
Be a waste of time.
Oh, yes,
I think curiosity will come when they already have
not entirely, because there are some people or there are some men that what they hear especially is what they run with. Okay, for all you know, that conversation they might have had it, they are all over it. A week later, it begins ringing in his mind.
Won't that be in the minority?
That conversation rather is what is rather now putting the doubt in his mind. Not that the doubt was there before.
Okay,
you understand? That conversation now is what is bringing up doubt. Now, when my child is walking, I'm watching how he's walking. When he's speaking, I'm looking at him. Why is he not twisting his mouth the way I do?
Yeah,
when he's doing this, you get the point. I mean, so sometimes not because the woman or the child has done anything,
it's not just
but just because
even
of
for a woman.
The
yes, even for a woman.
Exactly.
But the point is, you see, but when a man and a woman,
men are very curious. So
that is true. Men are very curious. But we would not dive so deep to investigate things like you would. A man will hear it, and once he has no reason to go and find, he would not find out the reason.
So I'm saying that he would hear.
If I look at my daughter, before I came on the show, I told my wife about this story. She was like, "Look at your daughter's forehead and look at your head. Can she not be your daughter?" I mean, there's some things that you would really not waste time and effort to want to go check out.
Let me ask you a
for
question.
a woman, yes.
Let me ask you a question. When we said we're going to have this DNA test, did you start looking at your kids again? Did your curiosity scratch?
No, Mike, no. And I didn't at all, because from the very word, I've always known that everything these kids do are a photocopy of me. They are girls, but the way they behave, it's entirely me. I look at them like, this is bad. So like, I have no shred of doubt.
Okay, go on with your submission.
So the point is, at that point, once I have no shred of doubt, even if the conversation comes up, tell me, I mean, we've had a drink and then boys say, you know what, Charlie, I've had to do a dinner for my kid. See, we hear it, but we are not moved by it. Unlike a lady. A woman would hear it.
That's what I
If he says they are not moved by it, I disagree.
No, we
for example, there was
there was
a conversation on social media about this same DNA test, and if you should go through all the comments over there, all the submissions the men were saying is, I'll do a DNA for my child when I give birth, I'll do DNA this. All the conversations were in similar line. So if he says that it does not affect them in any way, I disagree, because I think that the DNA conversation, once it comes up, this program we are doing like this, there is a man out there watching who is already beginning to look at their child. You get it?
For men, I think it's just a little bit of the ego God put in us. You see, when a woman feels cheated on, she's not so much, and correct me, she's not so much, a woman doesn't take cheating as serious as a man takes cheating, even though men are likely to easily cheat. When he finds out that, Charlie, my woman cheated on me, it's almost like, and if look, a man can cheat on his wife like with 3 other women, but if he finds out that the wife has cheated, it's a different thing altogether.
Right.
So I think for a man, is the idea of, if he gets to the point where, could she have done something with someone, no, this one down, I'll have to do a DNA test. You understand? But I don't think, curious as we are, like he said, once everything is there for you, you rather see your friend and go like, oh, Charlie, I'm like, Charlie,
we sympathize.
It won't be for
really
me. I'll look at him in a different way, but not for me.
Yes.
Honestly, not that we don't feel any type of way. I mean, we're humans. It will spark a little bit. It's not something.
So definitely, it will spark something.
But not as far as knowing the seed that came from you.
We will not act
but
on
let me ask you,
Solomon, that information.
Should certain things be left untouched?
So
if you're ever going to consider DNA, at what age will not be very destructive?
Okay. I yesterday night thought through this, and I figured that the kind of bond I have with my kids now, like they're all I have, like Solia, Solange. I mean they are two girls.
I receive it.
So, amen. So, like I'm particular about being a part of the entire group process. So I never missed any hospital visit from the very first month to the very last month. I've been there, and then so these are people I call, like, you know how they say your better half is your wife. I feel the kids are rather more my better half than my wife, because like they are from me.
Because they have your DNA. Should we start punching him?
They're more like from you. Okay.
Yeah.
So I told myself that even if it gets to the point where I have a doubt, I'd rather not want to know and stay with the thought that these are my kids than to know they are not my kids.
Okay, I'll come to you. Let's stay there. Would you now, no matter the bond you have with them, be pushed to want to discover when a woman, they say some women want to take more than their bite, and case in point to be the footballer and his wife who discovered that 3 of the kids are not. So the bond you have is a constant. At what point can it change? Because then when matters of divorce and misunderstanding come and you go to court, even dividing your properties is highly dependent on the kids, you know. They say you move out so that the woman will now have the house to take care of the kids, so that the kids can have a place to live and all of that. So with the bond that you have now, God forbid, if anything happened and the woman was calm, you still have the bond. But if the woman was pushing further, would you now be pushed to want to go look into it, go back to DNA, and then present it to the court that she's been unfair? I mean, what are some of the circumstances that will push you to overlook the emotions that you have for them?
It will mostly start from 1, the woman point of view, and 2, from the kids who are now adult point of view. So it gets to the point. I mean, now how I feel is because the kind of bond we have in their kids. I mean, all bubbling, all that. That gets to the point where now they grow to a certain age. adolescence, and then probably they start to exhibit some traits that are entirely I don't know, and they are very resistant. They do not want to kowtow to discipline, nothing of that sort. And then it gets to a point where probably we have to fall off as a family. Then again, I probably would want to actually re-emphasize my doubts that, you know what, are these really my kids? And I'll actually go check. And after that, that's just to give myself the comfort to say that, you know what, this is entirely not you. And you probably might have done everything you ought to have done as a father to actually raise these kids. But because they are just not yours, it would not fit. You cannot put a round peg into a square hole. It wouldn't actually work out.
Okay.
So that point, I would actually want to check out.
Interesting.
Okay. Pascaline, this is very important to us, you know, because it looks like it's okay to have the DNA, but we also want to be shielded from you know, the gravity of a woman really depends on how a man feels about them. This is why we want to still protect that gravity. But you go discover the truth, but not in my face.
Yeah.
And if you discover it, how should you be told?
If by any chance my husband finds out that our child, as at now, our child is not his, he should be bold to tell me. Because one thing I believe is that this is not to condone cheating or to say I support people fathering other people's children. But I believe that fatherhood goes beyond being a biological father of a child. Because there are people who are not even your biological children, and you even bond with them more. So if from infancy you've known this person as your child, until maybe to me, if it is very important, although I support DNA, if it is not that important, let's leave things as they are. Because so many of us, let's say from 30 years upwards, so many of us, I'm very sure that we've been fathered by men who were not our biological fathers.
And this was public knowledge, but they just decided
not
to
necessarily public.
Should we not give the men the opportunity to choose that?
No, not necessarily public knowledge. What I'm trying to say is that there are people, even as and now, some of these things, people go into their graves with them. There are people who have fathered children who are not, in those times when this DNA was not of a big deal. I mean, people gave other people's children to men, and they fathered them, and they became their families and all that. So I believe that for everybody's sake, if it is not that important and you don't have any concrete reason why you would want to know, and you believe that this child is my child, or you've been the father of this child for a very long time, I think we should leave things there, unless, of course, like you are saying, in cases of divorce and some very serious cases where some drastic measures need to be taken, you would have to know if truly I am willing my this to this person, I'm willing my that. Some of us, I'm sure, should they bring our fathers right now to do DNA, some of us from the 80s, from the 90s, from the 70s, should they bring our fathers right now to do DNA? Most of us do not belong to our fathers.
Makes sense. Some people come and argue that in the past, families were very involved in choosing the men and the wives together. It is intentional. So there was no trust issues. There was no, I went to lay this person the night before. I want to finish off with my ex. Today's my last night because I'm getting married tomorrow. Then it comes back like an albatross to bite you, you know. Some men also, you know, when they happened in the past, they come to want to not demand for the child. You know, maybe your ex, something happened, and they feel like that's my seed. You know, it kicks, it kind of draws you. That's your seed. So it keeps drawing you. You see that child as yours, and they come and they really want to have the child. In that case, it becomes chaotic. Would you let them? Would you leave the child for them? That's your final submission, though.
Yes. Again, once it's not mine, I cannot entirely take ownership of what it's not mine. But the point is, to what extent is the other man willing to go? How far? Can we have a conversation? Does he just want to know for knowing sake? Does he want to still allow me to want to be their father? If he wants to fend for them, if he wants to pay for their, if it's not that, I mean, I'm open to it. But the point is, if he wants a claim, and again, there's no evidence to prove to that, probably you would have to battle this out, whichever way possible.
That's right.
But again, if it turns out that they are his kids.
The ownership varies.
Yeah,
How you
And it
feel.
will also depend on where the kids want to be too.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Where the kids
If they
also
want to
be.
they want to be with their real father, then
Yes.
fine.
Yes.
Anyway, what a conversation.
Yep.
So, I mean, Affordable GH, you want to tell us how we can find you?
Yes, we are on Instagram, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, Affordables GH.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty Affordables GH.
Oh, Pretty Affordable.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Solomon, what can we get you to do for us?
Yes. So I work with Fido. We are a digital lending company.
Okay.
Hopefully
So it is fintech.
Yes,
or what? Okay.
fintech. Yes,
right.
a fintech. Yes. Hopefully I should be inviting you over to what we call the Fido Money Matters. It's a financial literacy program that we host every last Friday in the month at our head office located opposite the Snake Guest House in the cantonments, and it's to just touch base with society, try to teach people savings, budgeting, debt management, and anything that has got to do with investments.
Oh,
So yes, I should be hopeful to come back and to have.
Oh, of
Definitely.
course, of
We'd
course,
love to
of
have
course,
you.
of course.
Yeah.
We like talking about investments and money
Great,
stuff and also.
great,
Sure.
great.
We'll see you pretty soon, Daddy, actually
Definitely.
thing. And our love to the two girls.
Yes, I will. I'll send it to them. And then, so let me say hi to them, Solia and Solange. Tomorrow is Solia's birthday. She'll turn 3 years, but she already acts like she's 4. So again, happy birthday to my daughter Solia. Hopefully, I should be home with her tomorrow to celebrate.
Beautiful.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
Nice. Okay, Pascaline, thank you, Solomon. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I should
Thank
be
you
shopping
for
soon. I'm a
having-
shopaholic.
Sure.
Okay, guys. Foodie Friday, DNA test. Mo bisa mo idea be